All right, everybody. It is 12 noon, and it's time for Q&A with Alan and Marshall, except Marshall's not here. Mr. Marshall Atkinson is in Ohio doing a film project. Actually, he's on a plane back, but he was with Jerseys doing a project with them all week. And so you're stuck with me. But because nobody wanted to see me, we brought back, if you remember, a few weeks ago, Mr. Dennis Tan from Ampersand Printing out of New York City.
How's it going? Say hi from Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah. So how you been doing, Dennis?
Good. It's been busy. I am actually heading to Disney World tomorrow for well-deserved vacation. Yeah.
Now, how old are your kids?
My kids are 6 and 4. I forget sometimes.
Fun age.
Fun age. Crazy age.
They're getting to be a crazy age, but they're starting to be a fun age. They'll get tired soon, but they'll love it. They're probably excited to go.
Yeah, for sure.
House of the Mouse. So, well, great. Have you been before?
I have. I actually love Disney. We go pretty frequently, but because of COVID, we took a step back from traveling for a while. But yeah, we're back in it. We're ready, and we're excited. But thanks for having me on today, and
I'm excited. When we talked, I had a topic, and man, you jumped right on it. So it's going to be a fun thing.
Yeah.
Cool. We had some great response. I heard from people when you were on they loved hearing from you and your story. So yeah, so it was natural.
Yeah,
to have you back on. So one thing I forgot to mention: if you're listening, please share this. Tell people about this show and Q&A. This is how we do it. They can watch it on YouTube, on Facebook, and we always forget that these are re-recorded and played on podcasts, whether it be Spotify or Apple. And so we're getting more and more listeners on it. We got some people visiting already, so we'll say hi. Cindy King from Texas. How are you doing, Miss Cindy? Down there, is it hot down there right now? I believe so. I have to go to Arizona Monday. And Gosta from Uppsala, Sweden. Yeah, from Uppsala. We got to say Uppsala. So Uppsala, Sweden. So Gosta, always good to have you. And I have no idea what the temperature is in Sweden right now, but I'm sure it's always beautiful in Sweden. Sounds like a great place. And I've seen pictures. Gosta sent Marshall and I pictures of his ranch and farm, and incredible. And then my buddy, Mr. Richard Greaves from Wyandotte, Michigan, and your friend, you've talked to him quite a bit.
The wonderful Mr. Greaves.
The Richard Greaves is what I call him. So Cindy says it's mild at the moment. It's 81. Oh, nice. That's actually nice weather.
That's beautiful.
Oh, we got Scrimshaw here. Hey, man, how you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while from New Bedford, Mass. So glad to have you. Gosta says it's 30 Celsius. All right, Dennis, what is that in Fahrenheit?
Oh, man. All right, Gosta, you have to translate to Fahrenheit for that. What is that, 90 degrees?
I think so.
Something
I don't know. I have to look it up and do that. So
us Americans are backwards with our
We're horrible. Yeah. Yeah, why can't the whole world is on metric, and here we are. It's us in one other country, I thought.
I don't remember. I just saw a meme recently on everyone in the world's on what's the best temperature? Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin. I think there's an R1 too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But
R value is how they do insulation and stuff.
I think so. Something like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I only know Fahrenheit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird when I'm overseas, Celsius. I always have to look. I don't know what it is. So, well, great. So we want to always thank GSG, our sponsor. They do such a great job, man, and they are killing it. They just had an open house up in their Milwaukee branch. I heard it went great. We have Chris Molds with us from up in Canada, and he says it's 86 Fahrenheit. You were close. So
thank you, Christopher.
Awesome for knowing that. And then we have Mr. Charles from New Mexico out there. Hope you're doing well, Charles. So Charles, I have one of my friends that I grew up with we're still very close. His son just took a job in Los Alamos, New Mexico. Pretty high security, so right out of college. So it's one of those things. He says, yeah, he's on the low end of security, but he can't say a whole lot of what he's doing. So his dad goes, what do you think he's doing? I go, aliens, I'm sure. I don't know. But anyways, what's Chris? Chris said, good morning, gentlemen. I must be an FB jail because they still won't let me comment on that platform. That's all right. YouTube is going better.
That's a badge of honor, Facebook jail. So
yeah,
right. You're welcome on YouTube.
Yeah, anytime. So it's awesome. National Labs there. That's where they developed the atomic bombs. Awesome. Jack developing atomic bombs. That's what we need. He's a good kid. So he's doing what I'm sure he'll do well there. I'm not sure what they do. Charles, do they still do atomic bombs there and defense? I'm sure it's some sort of government stuff, but I don't know. I don't want to ask him.
Top secret stuff.
Top secret. Somebody's got to do it, and it's not me. We just do shirts.
Well, we're going to do some top secret tips today.
We are going to let the cat out of the bag on there. Before we do that, let's pay some bills. Let me see if I can get to the video for, whoops, not that. We get to our little new GSG commercial, which I am loving. So everybody check it out. If you're not familiar with Graphic Solutions, here we go.
GSG, the combination of over half a century of knowledge with industry-leading technology and the customer at the center of everything that we do. Graphic Solutions Group is a powerhouse distributor of traditional screen, sign, wide format digital printing, embroidery, and textile decorating. We are committed to our customers, providing support, educational, and consulting services. Your success is our success. We've seen these industries grow and change in our 70 years. One thing never changes: GSG's dedication providing the best products and services available. We've been around, we'll be around, from the highs and the lows, standing right here with you. GSG, the right products, right away.
All right. I love that commercial. It's over 30 seconds, but that's okay.
Go GSG.
Yeah. And I was watching it. A lot of those clips were taken at the Fort Worth show last year. I was there. I know Marshall will be down there. I'm supposed to be down there. I got to double check on confirmation on and make sure we're going to be there. But that's a great show. That is turning out to be a great show. I know GSG will be at Printing United also in Vegas. And Marshall and I will both be there at Printing United. So it'll be a good time. I'm looking forward to getting back and seeing people. And Dennis, even though Atlantic City was kind of small and tiny and worthless, it was good. I got to see you for the first time in years.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so,
those shows are always about connecting with other printers and saying hi.
Yeah.
You make the most out of it by what you put in. So yeah, I saw a lot of great people at Atlantic City. That's my resident trade show.
Yeah, because it's close to you. So absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And if somebody needs to know where GSG is, to go look at them right there, go gsg.com. So what do we get into some topics real quick?
Yeah.
And of course, if anybody has any questions, let us know. Charles says the biggest nuclear facility in the U.S. is in Los Alamos, plus a lot of other stuff that nobody's allowed to know about. Excellent. I don't want to know. Because then I get blocked from Facebook like Christopher is. Thank you all. Yeah, I'm glad. It's a great new ad. I love it. So cool. All right. So we came up with, everybody, what to talk about. Dennis and I have both made lists. Some of them overlap, of the 5 things we think every shop needs. And when we came up with it, it could be technical, it could be marketing, it could be sales, it could be business, it could be infrastructure, it could be whatever. And so here it is. I'd love to hear what you all think.
Yeah.
Any comments?
I think everyone has things to contribute or things that they know that has helped them grow over the years, whether you've been in business for 1 year, 10 years, or 50 years. There's got to be something that you think that can help, any shop must need to grow. So
absolutely. Well, Dennis, let's go to the very first one you had. And it was number one on mine also.
Right.
And it wasn't, and I wonder why. And this is just our little tribute to Marshall Atkinson.
Right.
But business plan. You started a business. I mean, was that the first thing you did, or was it something you learned to do?
I'll be honest, it wasn't the first thing I did. But you know what? When you're first starting off, you're really just trying to figure out how to coat your screen. You're figuring out if you're going to make this a viable thing. At least on my perspective, on my behalf, I feel like most people start off figuring out if they want to get into screen printing, what it's about, if you can make money doing it. And then as you start moving on, then you start realizing, hey, I'm making money. How do I make this better? How do I expand it? And that's where the business plan kind of starts getting formed at that point. You got to have a direction as to what your exit strategy is going to be. I know Mark Kruger always says, begin with the end in mind. So where do you want this business to wind up? Do you want 5 autos? And that's always like a moving target. I think that's the important thing about business plans. It's not like you write it down and then you stick to that. It's always going to be changing. So whether you go from 1 auto, getting a CTS, because that's actually on my business plan now, is to get a CTS, to move to the next step, So having a business plan is important. It gives you direction, most importantly. So that was on your list and on mine. So go to Marshall.
Oh, absolutely. Because I have seen more businesses in my career fail.
Right.
And I'm not great at writing a business plan, but I have a little side project I do. And the first thing I do is I start writing out, what do I want it to do? Can I narrow it down into a small paragraph?
Right.
What's the market, or a demographic, if it's a podcast, if it's a, something I'm doing, what's the demographic and stuff, where it's going to, and how do I do it? Right. I love what you said, is that it's kind of changing. It's never etched in stone. And Marshall and I were talking, and I just came up with, it's the shape of water. And he goes, what do you mean? What does that mean? I go, water has no shape. It's whatever the container that holds it, whatever the lake is, whatever the atmosphere is and stuff. So it keeps moving, it keeps changing.
Growing.
So absolutely. And it's still the one thing people still have the hardest time doing. And
do it for yourself. I think that's the big thing. A lot of people think that this business plan has to be like a perfect binder. It's gonna be. You just got to do it for yourself. Whether you write it on the back of a napkin, or if you write it out in a 10-page, like presentation, whatever it is, have something. Start with that at least. The best time to start is now, always.
And I think it makes you think too, because one thing on it that people have to realize is, what is your customer? And you can't go, yes, all of them.
Right.
What is your customer? What is the demographic? What is the area? If it's a restaurant, what area are you pulling from? Who it is on there. And I loved when we had you on, Dennis, because your business is pretty much just New York City. And a lot of times you said just confined to Manhattan, which is not a very big area.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people, not a big area, but
a lot of people, a lot of businesses, but not a big area. But you have niched that down, and that's all part of your plan.
I love how you said it makes you think. I think that's one big thing. When you're in the business for a while, you're just focusing on the day-to-day a lot of times. Even I tell employees too, like, I'm too busy working in the business to work on the business sometimes. So when you stop and you reevaluate your business, it gives you a second to say, hey, is this working? Is this not working? And you kind of reevaluate your customers, so you can change that business plan and be successful, Cool.
I was just at a shop yesterday. I was in Toledo, Ohio, and he introduced me to his new production manager. He's a younger guy. He was in screen printing in school and stuff, but has been around it a while. He's through college. He said, I just want to do this. So he's running that. And when John, the owner, and I were talking, it's allowed him now to focus on the business.
Right. Yeah.
So, because you can get bogged down with the day-to-day putting out fires.
Right. Yeah. This is very meta. So I know, like, we said, let's come up with a couple of things that every shop needs. And this was the first on the list. It's something not everyone wants to do and what everyone wants to hear, but you need one.
It's, you know what? It's foundational, I think.
Yeah, it is.
No matter how big or how small. And I think even more, if you're a small home shop, you
Right.
still want to have that because you're going to want to put how many in that plan, how many hours do you want to work on it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Because people go, well, I'm only part-time, I don't need one. You really want to do that then.
Right.
And focus on that. So great.
Cool.
Let's see. We have some comments. I got to keep watching everything. So Sean from Alpharetta, Georgia is here. So
Hey,
good to
Sean.
see you, Sean. Frank from SNS, as always. Awesome.
SNS is my favorite. I have to say that.
All need Alan Howe for the perfect white. Oh, wow. There is no perfect white. There's perfect processes, and we'll get into that. But yeah, so great. Thank you, Gusta. I need to update mine now that I'm headed in this new direction.
Yeah.
I agree, Christopher. You have come up from just printing and stuff to being specialized and niched in that. Don't you think as you grow and your business changes, Dennis, that would be a time to update your business plan?
It's funny that Christopher brought this up because I think he's actually a perfect example of someone who's always, a new target. You gotta update yours, and his is a great example. So if you haven't seen any of Christopher's stuff, he does some really great special effects, high density things, and he's kind of made his own niche now, and like he is an expert in this field, and he's gonna definitely double down on that, right? Yeah.
The only other guy I've seen that does stuff and will try stuff like that is Sergey in
Russia,
Turkey.
Apologies.
Yeah. Have you met him before, Dennis?
I haven't. I know of him though.
Yeah. Super guy. He's in academy with Marshall and I.
Right.
Last time I saw him was in 2020 at Long Beach. We've talked online, but he was known for just monster huge perfect high density, and made a niche out of it. But he's also, I guess, his shop, Charlie Talib told me that his shop is just medical clean. So
I love that.
Yeah. Sean says some state universities offer free business development services as an extension program, which includes creating business plans. Thank you. That's awesome. And I think, it's not hard. There's things, anytime you can get education, that works.
And we are in a digital age. So, you find a lot of information online. That's a caveat though, because we've talked about this in the past. A lot of bad information, a lot of good information, but
absolutely.
Business plan is, you can Google that for sure.
Yep. I'm looking to see, okay, your next one, and then we'll go my next one, because I can't believe I didn't put this one on mine, but you did. SOPs, which stand for, some people we take for granted, everybody knows means is standard operating procedure. And so, Dennis, I always think of SOPs in the shop, in printing, in how do you, it's doing the same thing the same way every time, no matter who's doing it. Where do you put your SOPs? Because they can be in office, in the office, and infrastructure and everything.
They can be anywhere. They can be written down. I think one thing that I'm trying to implement now is making videos. And we've talked about this. Other people have talked about it in the past. So this is not an original idea, but having YouTube videos with the QR code where you can scan it and then everyone knows how to do it, whether it's a new employee or old employee, or just you need a refresher, right?
Yep, absolutely.
SOPs are so important. Like, one thing I always think about is if you go to a McDonald's, you're always going to get the same product all the time, right? There's
anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world, exactly. Yeah. I could have chicken nuggets in Nebraska, I could have chicken nuggets in Manhattan, and it would taste the exact same shape, same size, everything, right?
I have had chicken nuggets in the Philippines. I've had it in Australia, and they're the same.
People love to knock on, chain restaurants or just chain businesses, but they are successful for a reason because they know, how to make it. They have the SOPs down for a fact. So I think
absolutely
we aspire to do something like that. That's great as well. So, whether it's how to tape a box or how to code a screen or how to fold a shirt, whatever it is, new employee, old employee, everyone knows how to do it the same way.
And that's one of the forgotten things on taping a box. I remember when I started in the industry, I worked in a warehouse for Harco Graphic and taping a box, and I would just tape the crap out of them. Finally, I got called down. Like, no.
Right.
One piece. Here's why it should be here,
Right.
done.
Yeah.
And tape is money. It's expensive.
Right.
So
yeah.
and
It's
you
also,
want it to look nice. So
it's time. Yeah, they want it to look nice. You're paying money
and it's
for
time.
it.
Yeah.
It's time. It's really a big time thing. I think those who are in the industry for a while know that this is really a time management business. Like at the end of the day, we print shirts. It's a widget, but it's really about managing that time and time management. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw Anthony Sharples this week, and Anthony, is a phenomenal printer. He's won some awards for 4-color process, and he kind of stays under the radar now, but he's doing great. He says he prints 3 days a week. He does everything else throughout the week, and here's the time where we print. It's the Greg Kitson method from Mind's Eye, and he says he's just living his best life right now.
Right.
He's killing it. So it was good to see him. I hadn't seen him in a while. When I walked in, he just looked at me and goes, "Oh my gosh, he's alive." So,
but yeah, to add to the SOPs like that you just mentioned with Anthony, it's working lean, right? The 2-second lean. I know Richard Grease is on here. He can, he's really into that. So that's where I learned that from.
He's on commission, I think, from Paul Akers. So I'm almost sure. But and it's all about the SOP of doing it right. Whether you're putting a screen, and with Anthony, he does not worry about any print because he said, because I learned to tension a screen.
Right.
And he said that is 85% of it.
Absolutely.
Keeping it there. And so he has SOPs. It's him and one other guy. And Derek does most of it.
That's great. In 3 days a week. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
He said they get done 25, 36 hours. He pays Derek for 40. Let's go.
That's crazy. That's amazing. That's something that I would love to do or aspire to, because you have people who have 10 people in a shop, but they're not lean, they're not efficient. So you're not getting nearly as much work being done as Anthony is.
And he said he goes, I'm turning down work that I don't want to do, that's not profitable. And he goes, I used to chase everything. He goes, I just don't. So
that's a tip of advice too. Not all business is good business,
No.
Yeah.
And he's not big. He has one auto, one manual, and killing it. It was good to see him.
He's killing it in my eyes, yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah, he's killing it. So it was good to see him. Let's see. Christopher said he didn't even know about special inks when we wrote our business plan, so that's why he's got to rewrite it. Yeah, good point. Milos de Groot from Mad Specials. Yeah, exactly. He's kind of the Wonderful World of HD, and he's kind of the one that he's been doing stuff with Aviant and Aviant, which I say it wrong. The guys laugh at me all the time on it. And he's done a lot of videos. He is, Mad Specials is a great name for his company because that's what it is. He's a specialty ink
mad scientist. Yeah.
Yep, and that's awesome. Our main SOP is keep it clean, which is good. The question is, how do you clean it? When you clean it, is that written down? Do you think, Dennis, on SOPs, you almost have to write them down?
You should, definitely. It's so funny. I'm going to tell a story. I saw a while back on Facebook. There was a new employee. Someone commented, and the employee was putting all the folded shirts on the floor. Now, you didn't think you needed an SOP for something like that, but apparently you do. And it's not second nature to a lot of people, but there are things that you just shouldn't do in a shop, like keeping your hands clean, keeping ink away from garments, etc. So I love how, Christopher, you said keep it clean, because one of my biggest sticklers is you got to have a clean shop. Whether it's forward facing for a client, when they walk into your shop and it looks dirty, that immediately translates to how you're going to handle their garments or how you operate. One of my biggest mottos is how you do anything is how you do everything. So
I love that. Yeah.
If you work dirty.
Did you come up with that, or did you hear that from?
I saw that somewhere a while back, but I love that.
I'm
that's just
I'm going to put you on it. I'm going to make it where you came up with that.
Okay, thank you. But no, for sure. And let's say like the shop's a certain way. There's ink on the buckets. There's inks on the pallets. Plus, all transfers, right? So you see purple ink from 4 months ago, and you'd be like, "Where did that come from?" And people love to wipe on the shirts. That just bothers me all the time.
I call it the gift that keeps on giving. You get it on you, and I have had it on me, and all of a sudden, it's in my car, it's in my house, it's on the cat. It's oh my gosh.
Right.
I remember one time I was I got in my car from a shop,
Mhm.
and I know the shop where it was at. It was in Pittsburgh. But
Right.
all of a sudden, the next day, I get up in the morning and everything, and I put my hand on the steering wheel, and it's like, what is that schmutz on there? Like, and it's red and white and all that. I'm like, it's plastisol. So I get
Right.
the 842 out, and I'm trying to figure out where it comes from.
Mhm.
It's on the bottom of my book bag, my backpack.
Oh, that you
And
must
I must have set it down on a shop there, and somehow I have this thing where I take it off where I can just toss it, and it
Right.
scraped underneath on it. So then I'm going, oh crap, there it is.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking of where else it is, and it's
Wow.
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah. So horrible.
Yeah.
It happens, and I mean it's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
Mr. Josh Wiley from Oklahoma just joined us.
Morning,
It's good to have
Josh.
you, Josh.
Mhm.
There's a guy with SOPs who has great
Yeah.
SOPs. So
Nice.
yeah. So I always think with SOPs, you have to write it down,
Mhm.
make it plain, so those that read it can just run with it and do it.
And
You
stick
know.
to them too. You
Yep.
got to stick to them too.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
So, and I love the thing with the QR codes like you're doing. And I
Mhm.
forget, I think that was one of Marshall's clients in Florida that started doing that.
I saw a couple people doing it. I was like, wow, that's a great
Yeah.
idea. So we're working on that. We're not there yet, but that's one of those business plan things where it's like,
Yep.
so if you step away, like I am for a little bit, if you have more employees, they know exactly where things go, what to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So cool. All right. Let's move on to the next one, because if we're going to get through all 5 hours, luckily a couple of them
Mhm.
overlap. And this one does. And it's one of my favorites.
Nice.
And you said a mentor,
Mhm.
someone to advocate for you. And I'm
100%.
going to scroll down because mine kind of included that, but I put it into more. Whoops. I hit the wrong thing right there.
Yeah.
A coach, mentors, or surround yourself with people who know more than you. Give me your thoughts. You put that at number 3. I know, Dennis, when I met you, it wasn't just a client at a trade show. You are somebody who, until we started forcing you to go out front in front of the camera, and
Right.
I'm going to thank Rick Roth for doing that to you at Atlantic City, putting you up there on stage, which I thought was awesome. I felt bad that I wasn't the first one. You just listened a lot, and you weren't, guys like Richard and I get people that talk to us all the time, and we'll give them information. They don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
You were actually going, here's what my plan of doing it, and you did it.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was at a different company, you bought like every tool available. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I will show you all my tools. I have them with me today. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have more tools than I have now too.
I don't know.
But
yeah, I totally consider, you a mentor. I think
thank you.
when you definitely start in the business, you don't know who to listen to. You got to find the right people with the right answers. Someone who would actually want you to succeed, right? I think, I think this is not screen printing advice. It's life advice. It doesn't have to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday too. It doesn't have to be a screen print mentor. It could just be someone. It could be a business coach. It could be whatever. But you want someone who advocates for you, who wants to see you successful, who doesn't want to see you fail. And like
they're not afraid to tell you no,
right?
But they're also saying, "Going, great idea.
Mhm.
Have you thought about this, this, and this?" It's another set of eyes.
Mhm.
And I do this sometimes where I know the right answer in my personal life. I called my uncle on something stupid. I'm having a deck put on the back of my house.
Right.
It's unfinished and stuff. It's a brand new house, unfinished. It's been 3 years. And I was going to have a monster one go across it. But then we got talking money and stuff, going what to do. So, sometimes you get in your own headspace. I called my uncle and I just talked to him, and he said, and he gave a great point. He goes, either one is good.
Right.
Are you going to be there for the rest of your life? Well, probably not. Then I put money into one of a 16 by 30 where 16/16 is sufficient. I'm not going to get any more. If I go bigger, it's not going to increase value anymore.
Right.
So sometimes you just got to have that other side of eyes.
Right. Yeah.
So by the way, my deck will be 16/16. So yeah, it was a great way of putting it. What is your end game? Right. Is this the spot where you're going to spend the rest of your life at? Well, no, it's not. I know that. I love my house, but I'm not going to stay here the rest of my life. So what can I do to build it, to keep it looking good and resale value? when the
Right.
time comes.
Mhm.
So we have to have people, and I always put that, who know more than you. And for that,
Right.
he's been down that road, just down the road farther.
Right. Yeah.
For me, Richard Greaves has been one. I
Yeah.
met him when I was 20 years old.
Richard is my mentor too, because I call him for any questions I have, and always willing to answer your questions. That's what a mentor is too. Someone who takes the time out for you, right?
And sometimes to push you and sometimes to call you down. Now, I knew Richard when he was younger, I was younger, and now he's older and I'm older. But Richard and I have talked about this before, where one time he called me. I did an interview or something online or something like that, and he calls me. He goes, "Okay, now picture me as your grandfather. I'm reaching through the phone and I'm just patting you on the hand." But it was almost like, what in the freaking world were you thinking? You know, because I'm patting you on the hand. And you got to have that, you know, because he's been down that road. Here's where you might get burned at this, and this.
I'm only chuckling because I didn't know Richard 20 years ago, but I heard Richard was a ball of fire back then.
This
Even
was
more
30 years ago, 35 years ago.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
So
He's
down a little bit, I've heard. So
yeah. And but exactly. Yeah. But you know what? It's called other things. It's passionate. He knows what he's doing. And I'll always in debt to Richard. I'm indebted to people that have passed on, to Joe Clark, to Larry Rogers, who owned J Products, who kept me on where I should have been fired 1,000 times. But man, he was a mentor. And, you know, he's the guy that helped me, just not in sales when I started early on, but, you know, when I bought my first house, he walked me through the process of what I needed to do. That's more than just a boss.
It's more than just a friend. It's a friend. It's more than a mentor. It's a friend too.
Yeah. And, you know, Larry, I've talked before, Larry Rogers built a business. J Products went from a small distributorship in Cincinnati to 3 branches, from where we had sales guys from Michigan all the way into the Caribbean.
Right.
And you know what? I learned what went good, what went bad there, but they were the largest Wilflex dealer for a long time. But for me, Larry and I always kept in touch, and he was in the 2nd Academy class ever. So when I got nominated, he knew, and his daughter said, all he talked about from there till you got in was how awesome your career was and everything. And she goes, I asked him, she goes, Dad, I worked with Alan. She goes, was he that good then? He goes, he was, but we had to sit on him quite a bit because I was young. But so when I got in, I called my father, my mother, and then Larry was the 3rd one. And
I think
then he passed away, but I was so proud. And they just said he was so proud, and it meant a lot. So
I think your bottom line mentorships, like either you're mentoring someone or you're getting mentorship. Like, I forget who I heard this from too, but you don't own the knowledge, right? You're only borrowing it and you're passing it on to other people. So if someone spends time with you, do the same for someone else, you know? So like
we did now everything like on there it's called passing it on, you know, the things people have taught me, I want to teach that to other people. And I just don't want to do it to anybody. I want to do it to people that are going to continue that on, to faithful men.
A legacy. Yeah. That want to learn, that want to take the time out to do that. You know?
Richard laughs at me because there's things they come up with, and he goes, and he knows there's things like, as a guy of faith and stuff, there's like the other one I said on writing it down, there's Bible verses to go with that. So it's like, this is according to God. So, but yeah, it is passing it on to there. Speaking of that, we have Nate Leber here with us. So, who's a great
Leber design.
Yeah. So videos and QR codes is how we do everything. It starts on paper for me, but the paper didn't transfer over to the millennial staff. So
YouTube yeah.
So great. Right there, Crystal said Milos would be one, especially technically. I would agree. Here's another one right there, Angelo Bergazzi. He's, I believe, is Russian. Is he Russian? I believe, but
I don't know. But he doesn't
is Angelo Russian? I believe, but yeah, I have met him once at a show. So yeah, another great guy. So we forget too. I think part of mentorship and learning and expanding our knowledge is we don't own it all in the United States.
Right. Yeah, definitely not. So we've thrown a lot of really cool names out today. So if you want to go back and find who some of these pros are, just go to the comment section because even Christopher's thrown out a good number. You know, you can definitely reach out to some of these people. You know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Now you have talked to people in the industry, Dennis, outside the industry. Who was there people outside the industry for you?
You know, it's so funny. I know this is one of our other points too, but let's not even talk about outside the industry. But if you are hiring new employees or someone has experience outside of screen printing, it's invaluable. You know, if you've ever worked in a kitchen, I think that knowledge translates over to screen printing very well. The cleanliness,
absolutely.
The order, you know, I think even something I learned from like famous pastry chef like Dominic Ansel, like how to mix ink, right? Because they mix chocolate all the time, or they mix, you know, their batters. It's like it's in a figure 8 formation, and then do a swirl. Like there are certain techniques that you learn, not necessarily in the screen printing world, right?
Because in baking, you can't, like when cooking, where they say taste, 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 always to make sure. In baking, you can't. It is exact amounts,
right? Yeah.
And if not, you're going to have problems. So no, great deal.
So learn from different industries. You can definitely, you know, whether it's you're working as like cabinetry, like doing furniture, you know, whatever it is.
Right. Christopher says he's not sure. He runs Academia Serigraphica, which Serigraphica is how they say screen printing in almost every language except ours. Right. So, in Spanish it's Serigraphica too. So, wonderful. All right. Well, let's move on. We're going quick. But your other one is perspective.
Perspective. That's where the last one is from. You know, learn from other shops. I think that's key. You know, when you first start, you work for yourself, and then you do things a certain way, and you think it's the right way forever. And then you get employees, and then they learn it from you the same way. And then 30 years down the line, people are gonna be like, "Why do we do this way?" And we're like, "I don't know. We've always done it this way," which is probably one of the scariest things you could ever hear anyone say.
Yeah, and you know what? There's good and bad to that,
right?
Because as screen printers, a lot of us learn what we call tribally.
Yeah.
And I think you were in a seminar, Dennis. Did I not pull you up where I had you in line with 3 other people saying, this person learned from me, and then you taught that person, you taught that person the same way. Well, what if I'm psychotic?
Right.
And have no idea to what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
So things change. So double check. I also think with a good mentor and a good perspective is you don't have to do things exactly like that shop,
right?
Exactly like that person. Take it, make it your own.
Right. Definitely know the why. I think that's the important thing too.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people, they don't get that perspective. They do things one way and they think it's the right way, and it's always going to be set that way, you know. But, you know, myself, I've worked in a bunch of shops before, and I think that's what really gave me perspective. So I'll work in one shop, it's awesome. I go to another shop, like, wow, this place is a piece of shit. And like, you have that to gauge, you know. I know a lot of people do the whole what is it, the auto war, where like which press is the best, you know. And it's like, you can't give a good perspective unless you've actually run all 3 of them or all 4 of them, whatever they are, to form a knowledgeable answer to that, you know. So
and what is the best is in your mind and in your sheet too, because here's the thing, they all print shirts. When you go Rock, Workhorse, M&R, you know, MHM, they all print shirts. They all do it a little different. They all have pluses and minuses. What do you want? Go.
Right.
You know, do it. So and I hate the color war, you know, on there. I'm a blue shop, I'm a green shop, I'm an MHM shop, I'm a Workhorse shop. I don't care.
Right.
Print shirts, make money.
I think you can make money with any auto, honestly. Any pressure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
If you're looking at those minuscule differences at that point, I think it's more of a process problem. Like it is processes, then go back to the whole auto conversation, because the processes is kind of where that lean is going to happen. So
yeah, I don't want to hear Rock, MHM, M&R when you have crappy tension in your screen.
Exactly. 100%.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Christopher Stangelo thinks he's from Spain. I'll have to look that up. I don't know. Richard says Coudray and Bill Wayner ran their reduced shops, 3 days of printing. So absolutely.
Yeah.
He said Dennis only met me after the stroke slowed him down. So people don't know if it's been a little bit longer than 10 years. Richard had a stroke. We're glad he's with us and still educating. So
still very passionate and fiery.
Absolutely. I met him in his prime when he worked for Don Newman on my crusade against low and unstable tension. Yes, I did. And it was a crusade.
Richard is the screen police. So
he is. And that's where it came from.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I knew Richard back then too. So yeah, it was a fun time. And it was retentionable frames were like the futuristic thing. And aluminum frames were like high end. It was everybody was using wood. It wasn't like they're going from aluminum to roller frame. And yeah, it was, we didn't even have computers. We were still doing camera shots. So, but yeah, it was good. Let's see. No press is the best unless you know how to operate it. Very true. On there are people that have small electric presses and making money, and okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
She says, wait, y'all talk about recipe for things. Then you say, just because you're taught that way, it might not be right. No, Cindy, the recipe on it, you have to double check. So you might have, here's the thing in cooking, you might have your grandmother's recipe and you think it's the best there is. And you will do that recipe. But it might not be the best because sometimes it has sentimental value and sentimental emotion to us where the actual food part of it can be upgraded and better.
Right.
Does that make sense, Dennis?
No, 100%. Because I'm thinking, I'm going to Disney World, but have you ever seen the movie Ratatouille with the rat? And there's
I've seen it, but I've never watched it.
One of the top chefs is telling the beginner chef, it's like, you are supposed to follow the recipe. Your job is to follow the recipe. It's the chef's job to be creative. So like you have to know the difference. I think that's where it is. And I always have to say, find the right people, ask the right questions. That's kind of how you figure out that recipe. Yeah.
And I think, Cindy, in baking, just like in mixing ink, if you go a little too much salt, it's going to be saltier. Right. If you go at too much blue in that red shade you're trying to make, you're going to have a more blue shade red. Fact of the matter. So those parts are not changeable for the most part.
Yeah.
You might want something a little saltier. Okay, and then you're going to change it a little bit.
Right.
But the recipe is there. Now, here's the thing. We were talking about emulsions this week. I was with someone and they go, which emulsion do you think is the best? And I did my little thing and I wrote an article for Impressions called The Small Things. And I actually got my hand slapped a little bit by a company I worked for, emulsion company, because I actually put all emulsions work. All emulsions work for the most part. And I will say this, whether it's Chromoline, Sadi, Autotype, Kiwo, Yolano, Murakami, they all work. The problem is most people use the wrong emulsion, the wrong way, with the wrong mesh counts, coded wrong, with the wrong light source for the wrong application. Almost 99% of the time. And, so the emulsions work. It's the processes and the recipe of how they're doing stuff is wrong.
Alan, it's funny you mentioned that too, because I feel like that class that you just mentioned, I think it was 5 things every fundamental screen printer.
Yeah, it's called five fundamentals that every screen printer knows, and so should you.
That one seminar you taught was probably one of the most informational ones I've ever taken. So there is no perfect white ink. There's no perfect emulsion. I know someone asked me about ink before. It's all about your process, and it's never one smoking gun. It's a combination of everything. It's the little things that add up. And
we talked in that seminar. It was actually five things that top screen printers know, and you should too. And I actually kind of showcased Lon Winters, Andy Anderson, Anthony Sharples, and Jack Prince. We've talked about all of them before on there, and they do things all a little different. But here is, they were awesome on sharing what their SOPs were on what they do. So
it's not one thing. That's the one thing I got.
Exactly.
It's a combination of things. The little things add up for sure. Yep,
exactly. Christopher says, I learned striking a strawberry and cheese with lightning is outstanding from that movie. I'm gonna have to watch that movie this weekend now, the animated one.
Yeah.
Cindy says, I'm laughing because we've been screen printers for 35 years. Our kids will come in and say, let's do it this way. Change is hard after many years. change is hard, but change is inevitable. And it's only hard, Cindy, when we make it hard, because you don't drive the same car you did 35 years ago. And we certainly don't wear the same clothes we did 35 years ago. So yeah, change is easier when we want it to be. It's just when we don't want it to be, it becomes hard.
Science, technology changes, you just gotta keep up with it. That's the thing. Shirts are different, back then it was all cotton. Now we're doing blends, tri-blends, right? Performance
methodology can change, but there are standards that don't.
Right.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
Simon, good morning, Mr. Simon Clifford.
Morning, Simon.
Awesome. All right, let's move on. What do we got? How many? 15 minutes. So
we can do it.
We can do it. Let me get
let's hear some of yours, Alan.
Okay, so we did all right, let's do this. I did after business plan. This is more in the technical realm, and I put tension meter, and we've talked about it a couple times.
Yeah.
And that was number 2 right there. Because when it comes to screen printing, I do not care what kind of press you have. I don't care what white ink you have, and I don't care what emulsion you're doing, unless I'm selling it and you're buying from me. And then, okay, then I care. But if you have crappy tension on your screens, you are going to have problems in all those areas, and you're going to be chasing your tail and fighting a problem.
Right.
It's called screen printing. That press does not work without good screens. Right. And you can't just say, well, I just bought screens, they're brand new. You're assuming the guy who stretched them was not a psycho.
There's a lot of shitty people who are stretching screens.
There are. And there's human error in it. You have to check and have your SOPs on them. But you can't do that by the feel of your hand or bouncing a quarter. You have to have a tension meter. And it is one of the, if there's one thing I want people to have in the shop, it is a tension meter. If you can't, I keep hitting the wrong button, I apologize. If you don't have that, and if you have one, I have one. Where is it? Well, it's on the shelf. Dust on it doesn't help. You have to know how to use it and have an SOP, whether it's retentionables, whether it's a Sherlock frame, or whether it's a standard stretch and glue that you're buying. And there are SOPs for all of them.
Yeah,
it can be done.
I think that's a great, we're talking about equipment now, it's not so much meta, but I think that's a great first purchase buy. Like when you start doing more things and you have the money for it, I think a tension meter is probably one of the first things. I know there's something else on your equipment list, Alan, that very excited to talk about, but you'll touch on that in a little bit.
All right, cool. I don't know who this is. John, where are you from? How to deal with exam pressure? I have exams in 1 week and I'm very nervous. How did you, well, you were in college and stuff like that, Dennis. How did you deal with exams?
Don't wait till the last second. I think that's relevant in screen printing too, right? Don't wait till the night before to run that job,
Yeah, exactly.
You want to buy yourself a little time. So John, wherever you are, start studying now and don't wait till the night before.
And that's what I think. Study now and then don't do it up until the time and go without sleep, because you will just study so much where you think you don't have it and you got it.
Right.
So
here's one for Hurley too. Like, when do you learn about, like high definition printing or special effects? When you get it from the customer, that's when you start researching it, right? That's most screen printers.
Yep.
You should probably start testing beforehand.
So what's the most reliable brand of tension meter in your guys' mind? Well,
I'm partial.
Pardon me?
I'm partial to Newman meters.
Yeah, and there's a reason why. Here's the thing. I would say first have one, but hold that up, and I'll show you one thing to make sure this has. Hold that up again. Show the bottom of it. See that little foot there? Make sure it's a meter that has the foot. Some of them have a little like round dot. And sometimes on bigger open meshes, it can fall through. It won't read right. But that's when Newman has them. They're pretty incredible.
This is directional, right?
Pardon me?
It's directional?
Yeah. So if you look face up, so put the clock facing towards us, it actually is reading left to right.
Mm-hmm.
So, going warp and left. And so when you change it, whatever way the face is facing, that's the direction of the threads it's reading. So you want to make sure it has the foot. Newman's has jeweled sapphire bearings and have a great warranty.
Right.
RST also makes one too. Sherlock has one, which is an RST one. I don't care which one, just have one and use it.
My recommendation is buy a good one though, because it's gonna last you forever. You know, you don't buy those shitty eBay ones or Amazon ones because you're just you think you're saving money, but you're just wasting money down the line.
Exactly. And if
I've had this one for over 10 years and we use it all the time. So
and if they fall, you know, don't take care of them. Don't leave it setting face up. Set it down on its side. You don't want to fall. They are precision, and they just like that. Correct. They have to be recalibrated once a year. There's companies that do it. So take care of them. It will save you money. You'll print faster. Your ink yields will go up. Guaranteed. John says he's from Hong Kong. Awesome, John. Well,
I speak Cantonese too. Nice,
What's
John.
that?
I speak Cantonese. Yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay, cool.
Yeah, Hong Kong.
So I think we need to go, Dennis, to a trade show in China, and you can go with me and translate.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
Yeah,
they have them in Shanghai and stuff, and I want to go to an Asian trade show. I've never been.
It'd be fun. Yeah,
let's do it. Let's plan. It'd be a blast.
For sure.
I'll even fly out of JFK. Flight. So cool. Thanks, guys. Been meaning to buy one. No time like right now that you brought it back to my mind. I've been saving up really good one. It is vital, especially with what you're doing, Christopher.
I'll say this: you don't use it every day, but when you use it, you're like, "Wow, I'm glad I have this." That's one of those tools.
Absolutely. How did I go along without it?
Right.
I'm going to do another one real quick.
Yeah,
that's the one. Calculator or a Stouffer 21 step. So next to screen tension, if you have poor screen tension, you're going to have, that's a 21 step made by Stouffer. Saudi gives them away for free, but Stouffer grayscale is what they are, 21 step. And all it does is tell you your exposure, whether you're overexposed or underexposed. You have to have a way to do that. You can't go by the light manufacturing or the emulsion manufacturer. Those are guidelines. And you have to check. Next to screen tension, most people are underexposed, and you will have detail problems, you will have image problems, and you will have reclaiming problems. A properly exposed stencil reclaims better than underexposed. It's hard to believe, but it is true. So
we have like 5 of these. I see Christopher made a comment too about this, but tape this to your exposure unit. I know he mentioned that right now, but this is, every time you expose a screen, you should be using one of these.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then there are ones, exposure calculator, step wedge, whatever it takes. Here's what not to get. There are companies that say, oh yeah, you can download them and print them. No, you can't. That is a dot pattern. Everybody's printer is different. If you look, that is actually a filtered film positive. That is not a dot pattern. It is a filtered film positive. And it is not a dot pattern. So you cannot print them out yourself.
Right.
Don't fall into it. It's not true.
That's more of a detail test than anything. I don't think
that's exactly what it is. And someone goes, but if you're properly exposed, emulsion will hold better detail. Correct. But underexposed emulsions, back in the day, we used to underexpose on screens just to get better detail.
Right.
This is before we knew light, and all we had were pure diazo emulsions. So you did
early stencil breakdown, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. But we also didn't know about tension either.
Right.
So there were a lot of things there. So great comment, Christopher. And if anybody else has, I'd love to hear other people's 5 things.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I like to see what people's equipment stuff is. That always excites me, the technical side of things, you know?
Yeah.
I've got a couple of the items here too. I have
you know what? I'm gonna go to
an ETG.
What do you the thickness gauge?
The thickness gauge, yeah, to know what your EOM is. I think that's one that people always overlook. You know?
Yep, absolutely.
It's like all these tools we talked about, you got to measure stuff. And I learned that from you, Alan. You know,
if you can't measure it, you can't control it. I'm all about thickness gauges. That's probably one of the more expensive ones.
Yeah.
Donut probes and temp guns. You got to have both.
A donut probe is actually very important. A lot of people are using, here's a donut probe.
Mm-hmm.
Cameras on my side. A lot of people are using these infrared guns, which are not accurate, right? They measure surface temperature only.
Only surface temperature. So you want to check your flash temp. You want to
Right.
check front and back of the dryer. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just know what they're used for.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
those infrared guns, they probably read maybe like 20, 30 degrees higher than what they really are.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So someone goes, temp gun saying this, donut probe saying this. Trust the tools. Go trust the donut probe.
Yeah.
What did Christopher say here? I tried to recreate the strip for a technique, but never could. Had to resort double coat. Yeah, you can't recreate that strip. You have to buy one. Get one.
I think the best thing about this one, Alan, you mentioned, is that it's a cheap tool. Most of the stuff we talked about at the beginning, like the store strip, it's like $15 now. Recession expensive, $15. You know?
Yeah, exactly. He says, I need that more than anything. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Stuff like the tension meter that can go $400 to $500, depending your donut probe around the same thing.
Those are more expensive, yeah.
Yeah, your thickness gauge is a lot more expensive.
Alan, I think we should do a 5 things under like $25 that every shop should have. Like that's a good one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be a good one. Like I have these temperature strips too. I know not everyone uses them, but like these paper temperature strips.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can't afford a donut probe, like this is not perfect, but if you slip it underneath a shirt, it'll tell you whether or not you've reached a certain temperature at least.
Here's the problem, and that's when I started. That's all we had.
Yeah.
Here's the one issue with those that you just have to know what they are. So
that's exactly it. Yeah.
Paper thermometers degrade with time.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know how long it's been sitting on the manufacturer's shelf or your distributor shelf. And a lot of people cut them in half to get more time out of them. That degrades them too. They're also 5 to 10 degrees off. Yeah. And they only go to a certain amount. So if it goes all the way black, you don't know if you're over how much.
Yeah.
So
it's just more of a positive, negative, like yes or no, pass fail kind of thing. So you can't map your dryer too. So you can have hot or cold spots as well. Yeah.
Christopher says thickness gauge. You need that more than anything. No, I think you need a tension meter and exposure calculator first.
Yeah. Well, for you, Christopher, maybe at some point because you're doing a lot of HD stuff.
Well, possibly, but if you're doing HD stuff and your tension is bad, you're going to have inconsistent thicknesses all across. So yeah, you need it all, Christopher.
Yeah.
Richard says test your donut probe in boiling and ice water to give you confidence. So it goes to 0 degrees or what water boils at. So yeah, great. That's how you calibrate them.
Yeah. We've done that before. People, I've asked people, get me a cup of ice water, and they're like, for what? Just put the donut probe and make sure it's reading correctly.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go. Your last one, then we'll get to mine if we can get it.
Yeah.
Passion.
Yeah. Also, life. This is a life lesson, not a screen printing lesson. Like, you have to love screen printing. You have to love being there. I think one thing people always ask me, is, oh, you screen print. It's like, do you make a lot of money? Or it's like, is it good business? I'm like, yeah, if you love it, it's great, but if you don't love it, the hours are long, it's hot, right? It's challenging, it's difficult, right? This is not one of those things where you just turn on and be like, yeah, it's an easy, quick turn for money. There's a lot of technique. I've been at this for a while, and a lot of people have been at it for a long time, and you still make mistakes always, right? And you're always learning. So you have to love what you do. This is not an easy.
I agree.
Yeah.
You either have to love the business part of it. You have to, just love it, because you have to do that, like you said, with anything. If you're a doctor and you hate being a doctor, I don't want you to be my doctor.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I've left this industry, came back. I worked for my family, made way more money than I did. And, I did not enjoy working for family. I came back, best move. And my aunt and uncle and I were together, and, we still talk. And he agrees. He hated it when I left the business, but he said it was the best move for me. And, you see these things, you do it. Christopher says, I have lots of exposure calculators, just need to decide what to get first over a tensiometer and thickness gauge. Tensiometer.
Tensiometer, yeah, thickness gauge.
That'll help you on all your prints, no matter you're doing high density.
Foundational thing. The tensiometer is foundational.
Yeah. Nathan says high density is all the same principles of traditional techniques, just amplified. The weakness become exposed quickly.
Right.
We learned that the hard way. Absolutely. But I couldn't have said it any better. Yeah.
Nathan.
If you don't love screen printing,
yeah.
HD will defeat you without a doubt. If you don't love screen printing, things will defeat you. Printing a white on a black shirt will defeat you. Tri-blends and polyesters will defeat you. Yeah. It is problems. So, yeah. What does he say here? Passion for art and printing got me through the last name. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Art and printing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. During COVID, if you hated it, you would have just closed up shop. So
I think most people figure out in a short time whether or not they love printing, because it's definitely a passion. It's a work of passion. Yeah.
We're going to go over a little bit, but let's
hear yours, Alex.
The last one I have on here, and that is continuing education. And you had that on your honorable mention list.
Yeah, my bonus ones.
Yeah.
Education is super important. Like, that's kind of where I've met a lot of other printers. Like SureLab, you get to connect with other people. That's where you also get your perspective. That's also where you get your mentors from, right?
And Dennis, you've come up to a lot of us and met a lot of us at shows and stuff. Have you found anybody that was hands off, that did not want to talk? Now, may have been busy, may have been surrounded by 5 other people, or I've had people stop me and I'm like, I got to get to the seminar I'm teaching and stuff. But I'll say, walk with me or I'll come back.
Right. Yeah. Definitely not. Yeah. I think everyone's pretty open when you go to these things. Everyone's there for the same reason. Because if they aren't, they wouldn't be there. Right.
Yeah.
So, education.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Printing United, Shirt Lab, all these things.
Long Beach, it'll be great.
Right.
He said, started on black and white, on white on black. First 3 months of my journey was white on black. Awesome. Sometimes the hardest print is a good one color white on black, and it can make you the most money. Cindy says, thanks for all great show. A lot of information. Thank you, Alan. Thanks, Cindy, always. This is a great show. Thank you very much. Yeah. We're almost done here. So
let's connect. Yeah.
That was great. And I think you're right. Continuing education. I listened to podcast. I was listening to and I've been told on my voice by millions of people, why am I not doing voiceover? And I will actually say here, I actually have on Voice 123 my first voiceover page where people, if they want me, I've done it before.
Right.
And I had, as I'm setting up, I had 3 people call me. And as we're talking, just going, you know what? I love your voice. I can listen to it. One guy goes, I love some else. He goes, I could just listen to your voice saying everything. And I'm like, do you know? And this is a friend of mine. He works for another company. I go, do you know what I'm doing right now? And he couldn't believe it. It's so weird. But I was listening to a voiceover podcast. I was listening. So I have to learn how to now not just record, but now how do I get rid of background noise? How do I make this there? So I'm listening and stuff. It's continuing education.
Right. And
you have to keep doing it
over
and over. This industry changes so fast all the time.
Screen printing is a lifelong journey. It's not just I'm going to learn it, I'm going to do it. It's not one of those things. Yeah.
Apparel decorating is. And when I started, everything was 100% cotton and some 50-50s and maybe the odd football jersey.
Yeah.
And, we were doing camera film and, manual presses did not come with micros. Those were an option. Right. It was just a different time. And I had to, keep learning as we went. And, you have mentors that keep learning. Then you have people that helped you then and others that you learn and you keep going. And it's a fun journey. There is no gurus. There are no experts. It's ever learning. And I think I've said if I've learned anything, it's because I've just been doing it a long time.
Right.
So,
yeah,
that's about it. Well
thank you, Alan.
Oh, always. Dennis, if anybody has any questions, you can reach Dennis this is your email.
Yeah.
Hello at Ampersand Print screenprinting.co, and that is correct there.
That's correct.
You know, I
Connect.
and then you can always reach me at Alan A. Howe at easyway.com. And of course, we'll put Marshall's up here.
Yeah.
At marshallatkinson.com if you need us. And I really appreciate, Dennis, thank you so much. One, just for your friendship, and man, it's been a great journey. Yeah, for coming on here and do a great job. So I'm sure we will have you on again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cindy says, and Christopher says, a carton stuck to your wall will get rid of echo, Alan. I don't have echo, and I do know that. I have a pretty good setup here for doing it, but I appreciate it. So I have friends of mine I had to reach out from when I worked in the music industry. One is doing some background music for me, and yeah. So if people don't know, I did work in the music industry for quite a while. I actually have that top one is a #1 record that hit. So yeah.
I only see the Academy Awards back there, but I didn't see
the Academy is right, the big one right there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like
that's
that.
a green screen. But yeah, so in music,
One
and
day I'm going to get them over here too.
What's that?
One day I'm going to get them over here too.
Yeah, you will.
Same as you.
And somewhere
it's empty right now.
In there, I have Richard Greaves on Garment certificate too somewhere.
Nice.
So in the music industry, I did not sing. I wasn't in a band. I managed a band, and if everybody wants to know, it's called The Great Transparency. The song was called "Rebuild Your Love," and it did 3 weeks on Billboard #1 as the first independent, non-label Christian rock band to hit #1 in Christian rock. And yeah, somebody looked that up one time and goes, Raspberry Records. They go, it said it has a label. I go, you're looking at Raspberry Records right there. You had to put something. So that's what it's from. So cool.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Dennis, have a good time at House of the Mouse. And I think a picture with you and your family with mouse ears on would be awesome.
We'll send that over to you.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. Be safe, and we'll see you next week. Coming up next month, we also have Adrienne Palmer from Screenprint Magazine booked, and she's amazing. It'll be fun. All right. Have a great week, everybody. Don't go away, Dennis.
Thanks. Okay.